Mic check, 1, 2, 3.
Copy you virtually.
Would you like this?
Yeah. Oh, no.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm Stephen Melendez, Chair for the Survey Committee. I hereby call this meeting to order at, what time do you have?
6:01.
6:01. Thank you. I'm going to go through the meeting decorum, first of all. Rules of speaking. Anyone wishing to speak is asked to raise his or her hand, and when recognized by the chair, to address comments to the chair. Speakers are to keep their speakers, the attendees are to keep their comments under 2 minutes. Public testimony taken at the beginning of each item. Please silence all electronic devices. The commission may take action on any agenda item as required by the state sunshine law. Chapter 92, specific issues not noted on this agenda cannot be voted on unless properly added to the agenda. So now we're going to go ahead and address public concerns. Since this is a survey meeting, I noticed that last time we had a number of comments that were not related to survey. So at this meeting, if you could be so kind to address your comments related to survey, that would be much appreciated. Thank you. Do we have any comments for anybody? Okay, this time we don't see any comments from the virtual community. Any comments in here? Not, nor in this room. So let's go ahead and proceed. We're going to proceed for the approval of the committee minutes. I'm going to refer to the meeting of April 15. Do we have any comments on the meeting? Do we have any comments on the draft of survey committee meeting, a written summary for video recording of Monday, April 15, 6 p.m.? Do we have any comments?
No.
Okay, hearing none. We're going to move. We don't need to move, do we?
Yeah, hearing none, they are approved as written.
Hearing no comments, they are approved as written. Thank you.
Chair, does he need to take an attendance of the committee members?
You can.
Is that necessary?
Usually it's practice, but
Right.
we didn't have it on this one of like roll call.
Okay.
But would you like to do a roll call?
Go ahead.
From the committee, Bernal,
Here.
Ching, Melendrez,
Here.
Tamamoto. I see you, Claire. Yeah,
Claire's
You're still muted.
Here.
Thank you. And Oshiro.
Here.
All right, thank you, Chair.
Great, thank you. Thank you for the approval of the committee meeting minutes. Unfinished business. Members of the Commission Survey Committee shall review, discuss, and make recommendations. Survey Committee's Commission Survey for final annotation prior to presentation of full Commission for acceptance consideration. Now we're going to go through. Did you post that?
Oh, for you.
Great, thank you.
Wait for everyone to see it.
We're sharing the screen now.
Yes, we are. All right. Can everybody see that large enough?
Yeah, looks good here, virtual.
Thank you, Larry. Good to go, Chair.
Great, thank you very much. Yeah, we're going to address, these are survey agenda items. Survey purpose, the survey will present pertinent information from each. Survey will request pertinent information from each board member concerning items which have been brought to Commission's attention by neighborhood board chairs for redress and to address inquiry areas for process improvements within the board's, commission, and support mechanism thereof. Procedure. This survey will be electronic and sent out via MailChimp. Each neighborhood board will have a unique email address that's sent out to that survey, that the survey will be sent to. Thereby, Upon the completed survey sent back to survey committee, the committee would know which specific board is responding, but the identity of the respondents would not be known and thereby protected. The plan, the survey committee shall request each member of the neighborhood board to provide a response to the survey via MailChimp directly back to the commission's survey committee. The results of the MailChimp survey shall be evaluated by the survey committee with the commission. And this survey committee will provide the raw data to the commission for review and will generate graphics representation of the empirical data for review of the commission and to make resulting data available for release via the NCO website. Do we have any questions from anybody?
May I comment? Oh, I'm sorry, Chair. Are you looking at them or?
Yeah, we're going to see if this,
Okay,
Dylan's doing a survey.
okay,
Okay.
Claire,
Yeah, go ahead. Sure. And then you can,
thank you.
What am I calling Claire?
Claire, go ahead.
How are we gonna address those people that don't have access to the computer? How do we include them? Because when we do that by voting, they can come in and still go in to vote at various sites, but with the survey committee, we don't have that option.
We can send out hard copies. What is your input, Dylan? How do you want to handle that?
I don't want to speak for the entire office, but I guess maybe one way is maybe by request. Kind of something we did like with the elections it was primarily digital.
That's good.
Somebody said,
Good foot.
like in person. I'm not sure about the funding, so don't quote me on this, but that's one proposal.
Claire, thank you for bringing that to our attention. We'll bring that in consideration and discuss it with NCO and come up with a resolution or recommendations. Thank you. Anyone else from the online community? This time, yes, go ahead, please.
I would just like to say that as for how the cover letter and the survey should go out, I don't think it's necessary to create emails for the neighborhood boards. I think that we should look at other means or opportunities for apps and consider how they can be utilized before we make a promise to deliver via MailChimp. So I think, the NCO could look into other apps or other means as Dylan.
Thank you. Dylan, let's take that in consideration. We did have discussions on this early on and several people, including Patrick, made the recommendation about MailChimp. If there's another way we can address and send out the survey to the board members,
Yeah, I've seen,
alternate forms.
MailChimp used for like newsletters and that kind of information sharing, but maybe SurveyMonkey. It's funny that they all have monkey names, but.
We could, yeah, just take a look at it.
And some, yeah.
If
We'll
the-
look at the options, sure. Thank you. Okay,
The other hands raised at the moment. For just this birthday.
okay, let's go to page 1. Okay, the items on this survey, I'd like to comment that at our last survey meeting, I asked that I could receive emails from the committee members concerning any additions, revisions, or comments. We have not received any from to date. So what you see in front of you is what we had addressed last time around. Survey content. Item 1 is the age. Item 2, how many neighborhood board terms you served as member or chair. We're gathering this for empirical data. When were you first elected to the neighborhood board? Number 3. Number 4, appreciate your support to the communities. How many other volunteer organizations do you support? So actually we're creating, not only we're extracting information, we're creating a profile about who our board members are. Okay, go to page 2. Claire, do you have a question?
Yeah. Are we, when we're creating a profile, how necessary is it that we create a profile? Do you think that any of the neighborhood board people might feel it's too, what do you call that? Too invasive? That's not invasive. That's not the word I'm looking for, but it's not too, like, I can see maybe generally things like the number, how many, well, not even
Next page.
I don't know. I don't know if we need all that much information.
We'll take that in consideration. Thank you. The early responses we had from board chairs is that to take things in consideration so we get to know who our board members are. We have some flexibility in that. We'll take that in consideration. Thank you, Chair. Claire, pardon me. Any other comments? Yes, go ahead.
I just returned from Maui.
Mhm.
And, I did develop some questions, but I have not submitted them to the committee yet.
Mhm.
So I would like to suggest that with questions 1, 2, 3, and 4 for empirical data, if you combine them to simply ask about their age demographic, what capacity have they, when were they first elected? You have that. And then instead of, and then the terms that you served as if you held an office. And then in terms of other volunteer organizations, I don't see the purpose for that because I think we should just focus on their terms and them being elected to the neighborhood board. So I would suggest that we omit number 4. Instead of asking for outside organizations that they belong to, just focus on 1, 2, and 3.
Thank you for that. We will take that in consideration. On the first part of your question about 1, 2, and 3, initially we had looked at those putting together in a statement. But we need to break this out in order for the graphic representation at the end.
Right.
That's why either using MailChimp or SurveyMonkey is to give us the data so we can have a graphic representation.
Right. That I understand. And in fact, those are the 3 questions that I sort of, I combined together.
Great.
I just haven't submitted anything to the committee yet. I just got back.
Yeah, go ahead and submit whenever you can. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, where are they?
You want to go to Claire first and then Larry?
Well, we should alternate. Larry, go ahead.
Yeah, committee chair, Commissioner Melendez. As far as the first 4 questions, as a neighborhood board chair, I see no issues with any of those questions. Matter of fact, as you're starting to profile individual board members, that's giving you a good sense of how much responsibility, especially when one says they've been a chair for a while, and you take a look at comparison with other volunteer duties, that's going to show you how active that individual is in the community. But it's if you've won it or not. But to me, the first 4 questions are in a positive aspect, nothing negative about them. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Claire, you have your hand raised?
I have a little concern about when you, the process. If you say that we're taking that into consideration, what does that mean? We're the committee, so, I mean, are we taking an offline committee? Who makes that decision? We'll take that into consideration.
We'll discuss that. We have 1 hour for this meeting.
Mm.
We have another
Okay.
meeting right after this. So, it'd be best
Okay.
also,
Okay.
would be really good.
Yeah.
Claire, the items that is brought up verbally today, just email them and let's go take
Okay.
a look at them jointly. That'd be a great idea.
Okay,
Thank
all
you.
right, welcome.
Appreciate that. That way we can keep track of everything too. Okay, any other comments from, or questions in the room, online? Rich, Chair Oshiro, you have a question? I'm sorry.
Okay. No. Wait a minute.
Richard?
Sorry, actually, it sounds to me like Claire and Mehalani think that question 4 should be taken out. So if they feel that way, I mean, why don't we just get a motion to delete that? Then you don't have to deal with that anymore.
We had comments early on from several chairs. Actually, when we had our first first 2 rounds about this, I had comments that they like that because it shows how involved our people really are. Volunteer organizations joined or supported. So I've had more comments in the positive than questions concerning it. When I look at the survey, I look at the boards shining. I don't look at it in a negative sense at all. I look at, it's going to bring out the best. The people that we have on our boards are the best. We're volunteers. They're involved in the communities. A lot of them are in government. Others are in business. A lot of them just love to serve. They're on multiple organizations. And so let's leave that on for now, and then we can discuss that later. But thank you, Richard, for that. Yes,
So-
we have a question inside.
I mean,
I'm sorry,
we're
go
going
ahead.
to discuss all the questions, I take it, as you go through this survey.
Mhm.
So are you compiling all of this? Because I've never seen the responses from the other chair. So we're going to have another meeting to go through all of that again.
Let's do this, Richard. Any questions that anyone brings up today, email them to me. I will do a final compilation and then go through it again. Okay? That's a good way to track it also. Thank you.
Well, I think from
And-
tonight, the minutes should reflect all of the concerns.
Right, but I need to go ahead and compile things so we can look at it in one shot and track it so we don't get lost in things. And yes, Dylan will do that for us. Oh, you're going to take a chair. Good. Okay, now go ahead.
If you just speak up towards the mic there.
Okay, we have another question from the audience here.
I just wondered,
State your name.
oh, this is Patrick Smith. I'm
This is
the
Patrick.
commissioner. But I
Commissioner
wondered,
Patrick.
we had talked about maybe having separate surveys for each neighborhood board.
That's correct.
Is that sort of the plan? Because I'm wondering if if it's just confidential and it's all going to be washed out, so no one's going to really, know who's filling out the survey.
Yeah, what we talked about before and made a ad hoc decision on was that each neighborhood board would have a unique email address. Then the survey goes out to each neighborhood board electronically. And then we don't know the identities, but we don't know which board the comments are coming back on.
Thank you, Chair. Finish the question.
You can, your commissioner. Okay, great. Anything else? Charmaine, do you have a question? Oh, Kevin, Mr. Lai, do you have a comment or question?
Thank you, Chair. Just two things. First, technical nature. I know Dylan is probably busy, but if it's possible to collapse that right-hand pane and maximize the viewable width of the document, it would help remote viewers. Secondly, I just wonder if we could recap what the ultimate outcome will be. What do you anticipate the final report or database that will result from this? I wonder if that is what informed the development of the questions themselves. Thank you.
Thank you. The questions themselves were a combination of comments from board chairs of the last year, comments, and also from things that have been brought to my attention over the years. The items that we're going to have here, we get back the empirical data. We're going to make it available to the commission. They may or they may not use it for the neighborhood plan. That has been brought to my attention that some of the question would be applicable for that, and some may not. That's up to the chair of the planning committee. Any other comments?
I would like.
Yeah,
to
go ahead.
make a comment. Thank you, Kevin, for your question. I would like to suggest, and I know that I mentioned it at the last survey committee meeting,
Mhm.
I would like to suggest that as we go through this, the survey committee, that the NCO draft some survey questions as well, simply because they work more closely with the neighborhood boards, and they would be able to develop some questions, maybe some ranking questions, maybe some multiple choice questions, a few written response questions. We, the survey committee, and the commissioners, we do not work that closely with the neighborhood boards, and there are 33 neighborhood boards. So I think that having the NCO draft some survey questions would help to boost the purpose of the survey itself. And it would be a more, it would be questions that would, that the NCO would be able to look at and say, all right, these are some issues and concerns that we know
Mhm.
that our neighborhood boards have because they've responded to us as well. So
Sure.
I'd like to see more of a collaboration between the NCO and the committee.
Thank you. Good comment. Yeah, I mentioned to Lloyd at last meeting and the meeting before that, that they have questions they'd like to put on for consideration on the survey. I said, yes, submit them. So far, I've not received any, but that's a good put. I'm chair, I've been elected 5 election cycles to the board. I'm chairman of the neighborhood board for Mililani Malka. So a lot of us do have a lot of contact with the neighborhood boards. That's how we live. But you're right, some do not from the commission. That's correct. And, but no, I welcome any comments from the NCO. That'd be great.
Or even questions. And then if I could, Chair, if I
Mhm.
could, with the NCO's collaboration, them bringing in questions, we could look at their questions and we could maybe add or delete, comment on some of the questions that they might have. And let's see what they would come up with
Sure.
as well.
Yeah, that's accepted. Thank you. Any other comments from the online audience?
Yeah, they got Richard Sherman and Claire.
Okay, Richard, go ahead. You have your hand raised? You're muted?
He's-
No, he lowered his hand. Okay, let's go to the next.
Sorry.
Who's the
Yeah.
next one? Thank you. Charmaine, yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Committee Chair, and thank you for having this meeting. When it comes to, this is my personal opinion, when it comes to age and first elected, there's already been comments publicly from the NCO that some people have served too long. So I think any type of trying to grab that kind of data might hurt board members, and maybe we should maybe the committee might benefit from just working from the point that they've all been elected and thereby are qualified. So just, this is my personal, because there's been a lot of discussion, especially in the last election, that some people have been there 20 years, and so forth. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. I see that as really being a positive. I'm just so pleased. Many people that I know on the boards have been there for decades, literally. One of a good colleague of mine, Richard Poirier from the neighborhood board in Mililani, was the first neighborhood board that's actually established. And the type and the quality of the people that we have in our board members are just great, just phenomenal. And thank you for that. I'll take that consideration. Any other questions from in the room or online?
It's from Claire.
Claire, is your hand still up or is it a new
Yes,
hand?
it is. Yes, no, my hand is still up. So Chair, 2 things. One, to follow up on Mahelani's comment about getting input or seeking input from the neighborhood board, neighborhood commission, the neighborhood NCO.
NCO, sure.
I think that also would give us some information that we might be able to use at in the rewriting of the guidelines, right? So they are more closely in tune with array of input that comes in to the commission. And then secondly, I think you misunderstood Charmaine's comment. I think she was saying that asking things like age or how long you have been serving might be more divisive as far as saying already people are sensitive to the fact that, some people feel that people have been on too long. And by asking that information, you're just collecting information that might upset people. I think that's what Charmaine was saying.
Thank
She
you.
gave you- she just
Understood.
gave you a
Thank you.
thumbs up.
And then we have another question up online. Dylan?
Yes, Greg.
Greg, go ahead.
Thank you.
Are you visible? There you are. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm here. So let me lower my hand and
Can I ask a question online? Last time I was online, I had trouble with bandwidth. Do you all have enough bandwidth? Can you function properly? Because you're using your video.
yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Go ahead.
So just very quickly, I don't see any issues with the 4 questions that are there. I know there's a sensitivity to a lot of things out there in general. I know with our legislators too, with you know, how long they've been in office, term limits, things like that. I'm not offended as a board member of having any of these questions asked of me. I serve on 3 boards, and I'm happy to tell you which boards they are. And whether you disclose that or not, you know, if I provide the information, that's up to me to provide it. But what I would suggest is that, you know, I'm listening. This is my, I think, second committee meeting, maybe the third. I'm not sure. It might be the third, but at least the second one. And what I am noticing is there seems to be a very high level of sensitivity to any adverse or negative types of maybe responses. And I think that surveys are meant to provide information, you know, that's supportive of good things and also indicating areas of improvement and also indicating areas that are negative that you need to know about so you can correct them. And I'm hoping that the actual board members, and this is my suggestion, and I'll end with this. I'm hoping that all of the board members on all of the boards would have an opportunity to actually submit maybe top 3 questions they'd like to see on the survey. And you'd be surprised at what you get. And instead of having the NCO do it, have, you know, the board members do it. Just poll board members, send an email to the top 3 questions that you have, or if there's a way you can do it anonymously, I don't know, but I'm fine to openly share my 3 questions, and then you'll learn a little bit. I think that's the most important kind of survey you can have. So I'll end that, and thank you for the opportunity to make a comment.
Thank you. Good. We'll see how we could do that if we do that. Thank you. Any other questions online? Okay, we're going to proceed to the next page. I'm going to go through the next couple of pages, and then I think I'm going to go through the rest of this and then hold the questions to the end. Like I said, because we have another meeting at 7 o'clock. What is your preference for neighborhood board meetings? There was some there was some discussion on this before, in-person, virtual, or hybrid. How would you rate your board's efficiency? This is tongue in cheek. It says, how would you rate it? So it's subjective. How would you rate your assistant support? Item 8, preference venue, council of chairs, in-person, virtual, hybrid. We used to have them all in person. That was great. So anyways, continue on. Item 9, concerning board education for all board members, please state your training preferences. I'm focusing, apparently, we're focusing on in-person, virtual, or hybrid. How would you rate your board's venue? And then excellent, very good, good or fair, and item 10. And that has to reflect back. We'll probably get comments afterwards concerning the, and we already have received some comments concerning how the information is arrived at their board agenda. Item 11, concerning the commission, rate commission support. Item 12, concerning training, please rate your board member training. Some boards we know, they're great. Some others saying that they've already had comments that they really do need training. I'm trying to pull out that information. Item 13, concerning training, please rate priorities. So I'm not looking at one versus the other. What I'm looking at, everything else being equal, what do you see from your board as being most effective? So I would have to step back a second and say, what do they see as a big, an area that needs to be addressed in their board, running efficient board meeting, neighborhood plan, sunshine law, neighborhood commission responsibilities. A lot of times what I've seen is that it would be either in the plan or sunshine law. The other ones they're working on. But the sunshine law, maybe you don't have the information or how to respond with a neighborhood plan. When we bring people onto to our board, I give them a plan, say, here, please read this. It's kind of boring, but it's not. Because when you read through it, you really do get the feel for the heart of the neighborhood board system. Anyway, let's go on, continue on. Item 14, Alelo support. Would you like to have the commission support the same way with Alelo as the boards are? 15, neighborhood board meeting minutes. How do we rate that? Item 16. What I like best about the neighborhood board system is, and then just fill in the gaps. Item 17, I believe the following recommendation would create improvements for the neighborhood board. We're trying to look at process improvements. And I liked Greg's comment too about asking, if we could, I don't know how we could do that, Dylan, to ask the boards, if they let them know that we're gonna have a survey coming out, what questions would they like to see on the survey? The same token, the questions that the NCO would like to have on the survey. That would broaden it, and I have to lean on Cheryl to see if we'd like to do that this time around. But we'll discuss that further. Item 18, please attach additional pages for recommendations for consideration. Out of this, when we get recommendations, we get a narrative. We're not just going to build a graphic representation, but a pie chart. We'll also pull out empirical data, such as recommendations, what they see may work better for the boards. And so we have a collaborative effort. I believe we have around 471 volunteers in the neighborhood boards. That's a huge amount of manpower and huge amount of thought process to help us to improve our system. That's the reason for comments. And then the last page is just the custom reports. This is just some of the rudimentary custom reports we're going to pull off of either MailChimp or SurveyMonkey. Okay, do we have any comments on what we just went through? Okay, yes, Mr. Lai.
Thank you, Chair. One thing I'd suggest, I think this was mentioned several months ago, was to have a free text entry field for each of the questions up above those last few where you're explicitly asking for typed information. I think as I was listening and reading through those questions, some of the times you may want to pick one of the 4 provided choices, but there's a little more nuance to it. You may want to explain a little bit why you chose that or provide some helpful information. So I think if we provide that, then it will allow this committee in its final report to be a little bit more robust. So I would again suggest that. Thank you.
You know, I've seen that, and that we'll take that in consideration. It's a good suggestion about why they chose. I'd say when we have 4 one-liners, the 5th one may be why. And it's going to be electronic survey, so they can have so many characters, maybe 20 characters to type in there why they decided what they did. That's going to actually help to not skew it, help it to hone it in more. Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, Larry, go ahead.
Yeah, Chair, I've conducted a number of surveys when I was in active duty in the Navy as the Command Master Chief, because these surveys allow leadership, management to be able to look at those problem areas that you may have in the command. And I look at it, you know, we're one team from the neighborhood board system. And that team, you know, again, starts with the commission to the NCO to the neighborhood boards. I would really like to see 3 open-end questions at the end to help all of us. And I say us because I said one team. I'm there to help you guys succeed and have successful meetings and all that. But I'd like to see something to say, one for each particular area. As far as the neighborhood commission, do you have any recommendations that could help improve communications, administration, or operations? For the NCO, same type of questions. And then for the board chairs, I myself, I would like to have some feedback to see, because it's unbiased. It's coming back, you know, from your own board members, and you guys will be able to tell me, Larry, you're either doing good, or guess what, we're showing up at your next meeting because there's some issues that we need to help you with, because there is the lack of harmony, or, you know, one of those things. Because I look at the commission, the commissioners, you're the experts, and you need to help the NCO resolve some of those problems because of all your experience, and that's why you're in those positions. But that's my thoughts, you know, I really want to see the leadership management of the neighborhood board system be able to use this survey as a good feedback mechanism. And if you all recall, this is the reason why this survey popped up, is because there was a lot of a negative reaction from a lot of the neighborhood board chairs in regard to the policy issues that were coming down from the last summer's conference of the chairs. And of course, there were some members that were having their own meetings. And of course, Commissioner Melendez jumped in and said, let's get a survey. Let's get this thing officially in the system instead of having outgoers do their own thing. So that's my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you. We've had a lot of good comments today. A lot of good food for thought. Thank you very much. Any other comments from the online community? I think we're good. Any other comments aside? Yes, please go ahead.
I
Melanie.
think I would like to suggest to further bring the neighborhood boards and the NCO together. You know, what if we were to pose a question, how can the NCO further assist the neighborhood boards to follow and carry out the tasks that are outlined in the neighborhood plan successfully and effectively? Because the neighborhood plan, as it currently is what the neighborhood board should be operating by, those guidelines.
That's right.
So
It's the
I think
Bible.
the coming together of how can the NCO further assist the NHBs to successfully and effectively carry out the tasks.
Good
that are
comment.
outlined.
I've made note of it, but please email me too.
Okay, and then if I may continue.
Go ahead.
Chair, I think that, you know, with a typical board, whether it's for-profit or nonprofit, a question that always comes up is, what are the goals that you would like your organization to achieve for the better, you know, for the betterment? And I think a question, you know, we might consider, what are the goals you would like your NHB to achieve for the betterment of their community? You know, set some goals here. What do they want to see? And then maybe the neighborhood boards, we can have a question on there that, you know, each neighborhood board can highlight what are some of their accomplishments that they want to share that over the past, you know, 2 years or, you know, 4 years or recent. Share it with us. What have they accomplished? Some highlights of what they've done. We really don't know, you know, unless we jump on, and I read, you know, the minutes and the agendas and things, but I think it's important for the neighborhood boards to share, hey, we've accomplished this and we've accomplished that. And I think that would be something that we could put on the survey.
That's well put. Yeah, we talked about that last time. That's a real good suggestion. Thank you. Anything else from the room, from the online community? I think we're finishing ahead of time. We good?
So we can.
Okay,
Email.
yes,
Okay.
I've encouraged all the comments. I really like the comments. Thank you very much, online community and commissioners and the committee members here. Please email them to me. And we're going to go through this one more time. I really wanted to accept, I asked Lloyd for this last time. He had some good ideas for questions. I want to capture those and complete the survey properly and get all those involved. And then also, Dylan, I like the idea of actually asking board members if they have questions I'd like to see on the survey. That may lengthen the time to complete the survey, but we're getting close. We're getting close. I think that's important information so if you'd be so kind, Dylan, to mention this to Lloyd and tell him that we were interested in hearing his comments. Okay? Shall we do you want to continue or conclude or?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if there's no other comments, then we can announce the next meeting for the regular commissions.
Okay, great. Okay, we're done with the unfinished business. He announces the next meeting. The next regular meeting of the Neighborhood Commission is tentatively scheduled for Tuesday, May 28 at 6 p.m. on WebEx and at Kapala Hali first floor conference room. Hopefully the AC will be fixed. Right now it's not. So room 153. Thank you, everyone. What time do we have, Dylan? 6:39. I am concluding the survey committee meeting. Thank you.